A core feature of many single-page application frameworks is the repeater, and Angular gives us the ng-repeat directive so that we can loop over a set of data within our views. We'll hook up ng-repeat to see all of our classified cards in this lecture. Okay, so we've got a single classified ad showing up on our page, and the data for this ad came from our controller. We've got a classified object here on scope, and it's got some properties that just list out the title and the price and the description, and then all of that's being templated out here in our view. So what we want now is to put in some more properties for our data and then also have more than one listing. So what I'm going to do is get rid of all of this, and then I'm going to paste in an array of objects that has some more data. We've got 6 listings here. So you don't have to pause and copy all of this out. What you can do is follow the link in the description, and I've got all of this data prepared for you to just copy and paste. So you'll notice some extra fields that we've got here. We've got an ID now, we've got a posted date, we've got some contact information for whoever is posting these ads, and then some categories, and you'll see here a view count as well. And the images for each of these are just pulled from Google Images. You can replace them with whatever images you want, or you can replace this whole data set with any kind of data that you want as well. But just for the sake of the course, make sure that all of these fields stay the same. Okay, so we've got a total of 6 listings in here now. So instead of just putting one out on the page, how would we put multiple? For that, we are going to use another directive from Angular called ng-repeat. So ng-repeat is a directive that takes a collection and then iterates over it and kind of does whatever you want in that iteration. So here's how it works. We are going to come over here to our MD card element, and the rule is that you put the ng-repeat directive on whichever element you want to be repeated. So if we wanted something else to be repeated instead of our card, say we wanted, for whatever reason, our toolbar to be repeated, well, we would just go ahead and put ng-repeat on the toolbar. So let's set up our repeat. Let's come back down to card and we'll put ng-repeat. And then the signature here is that you create an alias for whatever you want to repeat. So in this case, we want to repeat a classified in classifieds. And classifieds, and I think I have to go and change it up over here. I have to change this to be plural. Classifieds in our view right here is referring to this array. It's referring to this property on scope, which happens to be an array with all these objects in it. And now we have access to each of those objects in the array as we're iterating over them via this classified alias. So what do we need to change up here? Well, first of all, let's get rid of this. We don't want to have our image hard-coded in. Let's change this up to be our classified image. And one note here, we're not going to use the standard source attribute on our image tag, but rather we're going to use ng-source. And that's another of Angular's directives. And what this is going to do is it's going to wait until the page is ready before trying to output this image. If we didn't put it, what would happen is the app would try to find an image called classified.image, which obviously isn't the real image name. What we're going for is the URL that is on this image property on our object. All right, so coming down here, it looks like we can actually leave the other items here the same. We have our classified alias, which used to be the property on scope, but now it's our alias for the classifieds array, still pointing to the title, the price, and the description. So let's leave that as is, and I just see that I have an extra curly brace here, so we can get rid of that extra brace. So let's see if this works out. Let's save that, and we'll come back over to our page and refresh. And here we see we've got more than one item coming through. We've got all 6 of our items. And you'll notice that it's a bit slow to load. The images are coming over from individual websites, but that's okay. They'll probably get cached and it'll be quicker from here on out. You'll probably also notice here that we are only getting 2 cards side by side and not the 3 across. And I think what's happening is that our 1/3 page width is just taking up a bit too much space for it to show up properly. So let's change that up for flex equals 30 and we'll see if that has things showing up properly. And there we go. We've now got 3 coming across. Okay, so we've got all of our classifieds showing up now, and again, all of this data is coming from our controller. We've got our classifieds array, which contains a bunch of objects that have a bunch of data on them for each classified ad. And all of this data is iterated over by us using the ng repeat directive. And again, the ng repeat directive takes an alias in whichever collection we want, which in this case is our classifieds array. And then we have access to each of those items via that alias, and we're able to access the properties of it. All right, so that looks pretty good. One thing to note is that our prices here aren't really coming through looking like prices. We've just got the total amount, and it's not formatted as currency. We can fix that really easily with Angular's built-in filters, which we'll take a look at next.